There are a lot of books about adventure. Guidebooks that promise the perfect route. Travel memoirs filled with heroic stories. And manuals that claim to teach you everything you need to know about the outdoors. They'll tell you which road to take, which tent to buy, which stove boils water the fastest. And to be fair, those books are useful. But there are certain things about overlanding that no book can teach you. Because some lessons only appear when the pavement disappears, when the road becomes a suggestion rather than a guarantee. And suddenly, you're not reading about adventure anymore, you're living it. When people plan their first overland trip, it usually begins the same way. A carefully drawn route, a location pin for a campsite, fuel stops marked down to the kilometer. Everything neat, logical, under control, in theory. But out here, plans have a funny habit of collapsing. The roads close. Trails can get washed out. That beautiful campsite you saved 3 months ago, occupied by cows. And this is when overlanding teaches you the first real lesson. Plans are important, but flexibility is survival. Because the road will change, the weather will not cooperate, and your energy levels will drop. The sooner you accept that, the sooner the journey becomes fun again. Spend 5 minutes on the internet researching overlanding, and you'll quickly come to one alarming conclusion. Apparently, you need a vehicle that costs more than a small apartment. Massive suspension systems, drawer setups with more compartments than a Swiss watch, lights bright enough to signal aircrafts flying over Bogota. It all looks impressive, and yes, some of it is useful. But the trail teaches you something very different. The things that actually matter are surprisingly simple. A tasty bite after a long day of driving. A dry place to sleep, stay safe, and reset. A reliable way to make coffee in the morning. And a small fire crackling while the temperature drops. Those small comforts matter far more than the most expensive piece of gear. Overlanding also does something very strange to your relationship with time. In the city, everything moves fast. Deadlines, traffic lights, messages that demand immediate replies. Speed becomes the measure of progress. But on remote trails, speed becomes irrelevant. You find yourself crawling along a boggy track, not because the vehicle can't go any faster, but because the terrain politely suggests you don't. You slow down. You stop to inspect obstacles. You wait for the right moment to cross a stream or climb a mountain. And somewhere in that process, something interesting happens. You stop rushing. The pressure fades, and the journey stops feeling like something you need to finish, and starts feeling like something you're allowed to experience. Another lesson that quietly appears on the trail, one that no manual really prepares you for. Out here, you have to make a lot of decisions alone. Should you continue down this road? Is that storm getting closer or moving away? Is there a better place to camp further ahead? Or is this the moment to stop and call it a day? A book can't answer those questions. Eventually, you realize something important. You have to trust your own judgment. And strangely enough, the more time you spend on the trail, the better that judgment becomes. This is the part that's hardest to explain. Because it's not technical, it's not mechanical, and it definitely doesn't fit neatly inside a guidebook. The outdoors resets you. When you're surrounded by water, or mountains, or endless desert trails, something inside you slows down. The constant background noise of everyday life fades away. Emails stop mattering. Deadlines stop shouting. And suddenly, you remember how to just exist in a place. No rush, no urgency, just wind, firelight, and the sound of gravel under your boots. Before their first trip, most beginners believe the destination is the entire point. The perfect campsite. The lake. The viewpoint. But after a few trips under your belt, something interesting happens. You realize the best moments rarely happen at the destination. They happen on the road. The unexpected trail you almost skipped. That random viewpoint you discovered purely by accident. Overlanding teaches you that adventure doesn't live at the end of the route, it lives everywhere along it. Overlanding teaches you things that no book ever could. Patience, self-reliance, flexibility, and the simple joy of being somewhere quiet. With nowhere else you need to be. And once you start learning those lessons, the trail stops being just a place you pass through. It becomes a place you return to. Again and again and again. So if you're thinking about getting into overlanding, don't wait until you know everything, because some lessons can only be learned on the road. Pack the rig, air down the tires, and go find them. We'll see you on the road, or off it.